It wasn't the hieroglyphs that silenced Dr. Eris Thorne, nor the perfectly aligned stones, nor even the sheer, impossible scale of the Great Pyramid itself. It was the hum, a low, resonant thrumming that vibrated in his very bones, a sound that seemed to emanate not from the ancient structure, but from something beneath it, something vast and unknowable. He'd felt it the moment they'd breached the hidden chamber, a secret passage whispered about in hushed tones by local Bedouins for generations, a passage the scientific community had dismissed as folklore. But here they were, dust motes dancing in the beam of his headlamp, the air thick with the scent of millennia, and that omnipresent, unsettling hum. For 20 years, Dr. Thorne had been a pariah in the world of Egyptology. He was the man who chased whispers, the academic who gave too much credence to Herodotus's more fanciful tales, and the fragmented apocryphal texts that spoke of a first time, a Zep Tepi, when gods walked among men. His official funding had dried up a decade ago, forcing him to rely on eccentric private backers who were more interested in myth than in peer-reviewed science. The Giza Plateau, sprawling under a canopy of stars just before dawn, was usually a place of serene, ancient silence. But not here. Not 1,000 feet below the king's chamber, in a space that defied all known architectural plans of the pyramid. His small team consisted of 2 others. Dr. Lena Petrova, a brilliant but ruthlessly pragmatic geophysicist, was already running diagnostics on a portable seismograph, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It's not seismic, Aris," she muttered, her voice tight. "The frequency is too stable. It's artificial, like a colossal engine idling." The third was Youssef, their local guide, a man whose family had worked the sands of Giza for centuries. He stood apart from them, near the rough-hewn entrance, his face a mask of profound reverence and fear. He wasn't looking at their equipment. He was listening, as if to a forgotten song. He had been the one to show Aris the obscure marking on a lesser-known mastaba, a marking that, when overlaid with stellar charts, pointed to this exact location. The Gate of the Star Walker, his grandfather had called it. Until now, Aris had thought it was just poetry. Thorne ignored Lena's readings, his headlamp beam cutting a frantic path across the chamber walls. The room was not large, perhaps 50 feet square, but it felt immense, infinite. The walls were not made of sandstone or granite, but of a seamless, basalt-like material, polished to a dark, matte finish that seemed to drink the light. And etched upon them were no depictions of Osiris or the journey through the underworld. Instead, the surfaces were covered in impossibly fine, precise lines that formed vast, sprawling diagrams. Eris, an amateur astronomer, felt a wave of vertigo as he recognized them. These were not the familiar constellations of the zodiac. He saw spiral galaxies, globular clusters, and what looked like a detailed map of a planetary system with 3 suns, all rendered with a precision that would rival the Hubble Space Telescope. Interspersed between these cosmic charts were diagrams that looked disturbingly like circuit boards and schematics for a power source, depicting lines of energy flowing into a central point. "The carvings," Lena breathed, running a gloved finger over a line thinner than a human hair. "They're not carved at all. The molecular structure of the wall has been altered, rearranged. It's like they were printed into the stone at an atomic level." Her voice trembled, the cool detachment of the scientist evaporating in the face of the impossible. In the center of the chamber, on a low, cylindrical pedestal, sat the source of their focus. It was a small, black object, no bigger than a human heart, shaped like a complex crystal with dozens of interlocking facets. It was made of the same light-devouring material as the walls. As Thorne took a step towards it, the hum intensified, shifting in pitch from a low bass rumble to a palpable vibrating thrum that resonated in their chests. Lena's equipment shrieked a high-pitched alarm. "Aris, stay back! The electromagnetic field is off the charts. It's destabilizing." but Thorne couldn't hear her. He was mesmerized, seeing in that crystalline object the answer to a question humanity had been asking itself since it first looked up at the night sky. As his hand reached out towards the crystalline object, the chamber began to glow, not with reflected light from their lamps, but from within the very fabric of the walls themselves. The intricate diagrams pulsed with a soft, ethereal blue luminescence, the lines of cosmic maps and energy schematics blazing as if power was surging through them. The hum escalated into a resonant drone, a sound that filled not just their ears, but their entire consciousness, a vibration that felt like it was rewriting their DNA. Suddenly, the air shimmered above the black crystal. A beam of pure white light shot upwards, piercing through the bedrock above them as if it were water. On the chamber walls, the glowing diagrams began to shift and rotate, the planetary systems aligning in complex geometric patterns. Lena screamed, stumbling backwards, her face contorted in fear and disbelief. Yusuf dropped to his knees, chanting verses from the Quran, his eyes wide with a terror that transcended mere earthly understanding. Then a new sound joined the chorus, a high-pitched whine that seemed to tear through the very air. Outside, above the plateau, witnesses in the pre-dawn twilight would later report seeing a phenomenon that defied explanation, a column of brilliant light erupting from the desert sand, followed by a silent silver disk descending from the heavens. It hovered momentarily above the Great Pyramid, bathed in the blue glow emanating from below, before settling gently onto the apex. The whining sound intensified as the disk seemed to lock into place, the light beam from the chamber below now perfectly aligned with its undercarriage. Inside, Eris felt a strange sense of calm wash over him, a feeling of recognition, as if he were witnessing a homecoming. He reached out and touched the black crystal. In that instant, a wave of energy surged through him, not painful, but transformative. Images flooded his mind, vast starships traversing interstellar voids, beings of light and energy manipulating the very fabric of reality, the construction of impossible structures on worlds beyond imagining, and then darkness. Lena, scrambling to her feet amidst the flickering blue light, saw Eris collapse. The humming had stopped. The glowing diagrams on the walls faded, leaving behind only the matte black surface. The beam of light above had vanished. The only sound was Lena's ragged breathing and Yusuf's whispered prayers. The silver disk atop the pyramid remained, silent and inert, blending seamlessly with the ancient stone under the growing light of dawn. Lena rushed to Aris, checking for a pulse. Nothing. His eyes were open, staring blankly at the ceiling, a faint, serene smile on his lips. In his hand, still clutched tightly, was the black crystal, but it was no longer black. It pulsed with a faint inner luminescence, and etched upon its surface, invisible moments before, were symbols unlike any language known to humankind, symbols that seemed to hum with a silent alien power. As the first rays of the Egyptian sun struck the Giza plateau, they illuminated an impossible silhouette, a silent metallic craft, now fused to the capstone of the Great Pyramid, a monument to an unknown civilization sitting atop a monument to our own. Deep below, in the sudden, deafening silence, Dr. Lena Petrova could only stare. At the lifeless body of her friend, a man who had chased a myth and found a truth more terrifying and magnificent than any legend. And at the object in his hand, a crystal that now pulsed with a soft, steady light, like a sleeping heart. The official story would be chaos. A geological event, mass hallucination. Governments would scramble, scientists would debate, and the world would be forever divided into the time before the Giza event and the time after. But the questions would remain, echoing in the darkness of that forgotten chamber. Was the Great Pyramid ever truly a tomb? Or was it a machine, patiently waiting thousands of years for an engineer to turn the final key? Was Dr. Eris Thorne's death a tragic accident? Or was it a form of transcendence, a mind chosen to bridge the gap between two worlds? And as that silent craft continues to sit atop the world's most famous landmark, a beacon now lit for all to see, we are left with the most important and terrifying question of all. The call has been answered. What exactly is coming for us now?